Good evening, Fernwood. It is your footloose friend Neil here, and it is time for us to get fancy free with another episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Today we are watching episode 148 from October 27th, 1976. I believe it is time for us to do our midweek recap. It started yesterday with Chester making his typical threats to level Southern Ohio with the plutonium that he has hidden in potentially his lunchbox. Tom shows up to comfort Mary after she was fairly distressed in the previous episode, and Chester refuses to behave the way that he does towards her and completely pretends that Mary is just crazy. After Nurse Gimble urges Tom to leave so that Mary can calm down, he makes a quick phone call to Annie to arrange a meeting for dinner that evening. Little does Tom know that he is witnessed by one of Mary's close friends, Wanda. That dinner that Tom arranges appears to be fairly platonic. Tom brings Heather along, and Heather seems very excited to be in a recreational vehicle and to play with the Citizens Band radio, doing all the CB lingo. It does appear to be a fairly friendly time, though it seems that there is some chemistry between Annie and Tom. And while this chemistry is nothing that Wanda would know about, Wanda does know about the phone call that Tom made and makes sure to tell Mary what she saw. Then at the Capri Lounge, Loretta sings her new song Moaning in the Night, and Tom and Charlie get to catch up a little bit while Charlie tries to hide his secret, and Tom absolutely figures out that Charlie has been having some sexual medical problems. Tom does his best to console Charlie, and that's where the episode ends. I think that's all the recap we've got to do for yesterday. Why don't we go ahead and get started on this Wednesday episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
Hi, what do you have?
Oh, do you have any diet soda on tap?
Just cans, lady.
A can, then.
What kind?
Well, what's the favorite around here? When in Rome, I do as the Romans do.
But this isn't Rome. It's Fernwood.
Yes, but when the Earth takes a quarter turn, Fernwood will be right where Rome is.
You know, I never looked at it that way. Okay, one diet soda. The local favorite.
Oh, thanks. Hi, Tom.
Oh, hi, Tippy Toes. How are you?
Hi.
You remember my friend? You met him
Charlie
at the office
Haggers.
the other day. Yeah.
Yes, I know. It fits. Hi, Charlie.
Yeah.
I'm Annie Wiley.
Yeah, sit down. Let me take it.
Yeah.
Here.
That ain't what he called you just now, is it?
Oh, he called me Tippy Toes. That's my CB handle.
Your CB.
Yeah, join the party here. Here we
Thank
go.
you.
Listen, what's new, huh?
Since I saw you last night?
That's right. My gosh, I forgot already. I mean, that's a kind of a stupid question, wasn't it?
Well, actually, there is something new.
What?
I've decided to stay in Fernwood.
Permanently?
Well, permanently for the present. I mean, it seems like a nice town, and I've had driving for a while.
Oh, well, great. I'll drink to that.
Hey, welcome to our city.
Thanks, Charlie.
Did you get your nose?
Yes.
Your eyes in your nose.
This guy, oh, my, hey, this is a friend of yours here.
Oh, I need him like I need a case of hives.
Hey, Charlie. How you doing? Well, I guess I missed that first show, huh?
Yeah, you missed it, yeah.
You got two shows tonight, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Tom?
Pretty good.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
I don't think I met the little lady here. Hi.
Oh, this is, I'm sorry I forgot your name.
Merle Jeter.
Merle Jeter. This,
Hi. How are you?
I'm Annie Wiley.
Annie
Good
Wiley.
to see you.
Thank you.
You new here in Fernwood? Or?
That's right.
Yeah?
I just got here.
Oh, great.
I'm living in a trailer on Sutter and 14th.
Sutter, and you're the one in that trailer?
I'm the one in that trailer.
I don't believe it. Do you know that I just acquired that property a few weeks ago?
Well, small world.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be all right that she's going to be there, isn't it? I mean,
Oh,
you're not
sure.
going to do anything with that property just yet.
Oh, no. I know what you mean. No, I'm going to start a little construction there pretty soon as I get a little trouble straightened out with the zoning commission, you know. But
So it's
for
okay
now,
for her to park there.
absolutely.
Until you start building.
Feel free.
Good.
My pleasure, really.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And thanks for suggesting it.
Sure. Well,
Hey,
oh, hey, Loretta. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You were fantastic. You were marvelous. Everybody loved you.
You're great. Just great.
Thank you so much. Who is she?
Oh, honey, this is Tippy Toes. I mean, Annie Wiley. Annie Wiley is Loretta Haggard's Annie Wiley. Yeah.
Hi, how are you, Loretta?
Loretta. Hey. Hi. Go get him, baby.
Oh, Loretta, I saw your picture outside. Looks just like you, except for the fly speck.
Oh, well, thank you kindly. You know, I don't believe I've ever seen you around here before.
Well, this is just my second day in town.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Isn't it?
I didn't know if I'd stay, but now I think I will. If everyone's as nice as Tom here. We're old friends now. Anyone who shares my bread shares my life. Someone said that. I don't know who.
Yeah. I don't get it. Do you get it?
Anyway, Tippy Toes invited me to dinner last night, and we had a very nice time at her trailer. She's a great cook, too.
Two. Oh, you mean she's a better cook than Mary. Mary's his darling little wife. Mary Hartman. I don't know if he told you he was married, but yes, and it's to Mary.
Yes, I know. That's one of the first things Tom told me.
Well, I figured he probably had, you know. But seeing as how Mary Hartman is my very best friend in the whole wide world, and another time he really hadn't, you know, I just figured I'd say it because, well, you know, I just didn't want you getting any crazy ideas or anything.
Oh, well, there's no chance of that, Loretta. No, I think Tom and I understand each other very well.
Well, I figured, you know, that you did and everything, but I just, you know, thought I'd bring it up because there is kind of an old saying which comes to my mind, which my daddy used to like an awful lot, and I think perhaps in a small, slight kind of way it applies here, you know. And the saying is, a hog will not stray unless some skunk comes by and knocks the fence down.
Now, I've sent for Mrs. Hartman. I hope you won't be kept waiting too long, Mr. Vidal. Please, sit down.
Oh, thank you.
Is that chair comfortable?
It's quite comfortable, yes, thank you.
Are you sure? Because if it isn't, we...
Well, what would you do? I don't smoke, Mr. Ackerman, but thank you anyway.
Oh, good. Here's an ashtray.
Are you uncomfortable?
Am I? I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. I mean, I'm uncomfortable, too.
Oh, thank you.
In fact, would you say, Mr. Ackerman, that your eerie ability to make people feel uncomfortable has contributed in great part to your enormous success as a hospital administrator?
Thank you. I do the best I can.
Indeed you do.
Oh, Mrs. Hartman. Mary, this is Mr. Gore Vidal. Mr. Vidal, this is Mary Hartman.
I'm very happy to meet you, Mrs. Hartman.
Oh, thank you. It's very nice to meet you, too. Nice tie.
It's a present.
Oh, really? Who gave that to you?
Actually,
Mary, Mr. Vidal wants to talk to you. Now, I'm sure he has many other things to do. So please pay attention and try to answer his questions as quickly as possible. After all, it's not every day we're honored with a visitor of such fame, such talent, such...
Mr. Ackerman.
Yes, Mr. Vidal.
I don't think that Mrs. Hartman needs quite so much hospital administration, and neither do I.
Listen, I kind of like that. I found it was like an Ed McMahon build-up, you know?
Well, I guess we can get right to the interview.
Here's Gar! I'm sorry,
Mrs.
it was just a
Hartman.
joke. It was just a joke.
Listen, Mr. Ackerman, if you don't mind, I'd much rather talk to Mrs. Hartman alone, if I may.
Oh. Oh, certainly. Certainly. If there's anything you want, please don't hesitate to call me.
I won't.
Mr. Ackerman, could you please tell Nurse Gimble that later on I would like to finger paint Mrs. Defarge with her hair down?
Of course, Mary.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
So you really want to write a book with me about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I really want to write a book about me, by me, about you.
Oh, by you about me?
Yes.
You see, that is what I thought.
Yes.
See, sometimes they try to trick you around here.
I can certainly see that. Anyway, as I told you on the telephone from Rome, I think that a book about you would be a book about America. It would be a book about emptiness, a book about promises unkept. It would also be, paradoxically, a book about hope. It would be a book about, well, survival against pretty terrible odds.
I would love to read that book. I mean, I have heard that you are one of the most famous writers in America, and you must be. I mean, you're on Carson all the time. Listen, do you think you could get me out of here? I mean, I was just thinking maybe we could walk out quietly as though we were a couple, nobody would notice. Forget it.
Now, you do seem a bit restless.
Oh, I am. I'm restless. Restless. I love that word restless. People so rarely use it. That's exactly what I am. I am restless. You see, I am talking to Gore Vidal.
Yes, I know.
Yes. Yes. Well, maybe that's why you're not restless, because you're you and you probably don't talk to yourself that often. But let me tell you, it isn't that easy. I mean, I've talked to other famous people before. I mean, just one, really, David Susskind. I talked to him. He's the only famous person I talked to. I think you may be more famous than he, though, although he does have his own talk show. Am I talking too much?
No, not at all. No.
Because when I talk a lot, I have a tendency to run off at the mouth, you know?
No, well, listen, don't. I think you're nervous, but don't be, because, well, you know, we're all alike, Mary. I mean, we all have our terrors. We all have our dark nights of the soul. Period.
That's amazing how much we agree. You see, I have always felt that grammar is so important. Punctuation.
Oh, so
you know,
do I.
periods.
Oh, yes.
Period.
Particularly periods.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you're a writer, you
Well,
see.
so are you now.
Well, by accident. I mean, I don't feel like a writer.
Well, nobody ever does. You know, you're very disarming, Mary. Also, do you realize that you're famous now because of that nervous breakdown?
When you walk down the street, do you find like that everybody says, there goes the famous Gore Vidal?
No, not everybody.
I'm not allowed to walk down the street.
Well, Mary, I think I can promise you that you'll be walking down the street pretty soon.
Oh, really? Then you are going to take me with you? I'll be real good, real good.
Well, I wish I could do that, but I can't take you with me. No, I'm sorry.
Is being famous a problem?
Not being famous, I think, is more of a problem.
So how do you handle it?
Indifferently.
What? Oh, was that a joke?
Yeah, but only on me.
That's funny. I like talking to you. You're real fun, you know? But I guess you probably want to ask me a lot of questions about the book, you know, my favorite color and stuff like that.
No.
Hobbies.
No, actually, I don't really want to do that. I just want to chat with you, just the way we're doing.
Oh, good, because I have no hobbies.
It's funny, neither have I.
It's sad.
In a way, yes, I suppose it is. Well, anyway, I hope we can do this often, you know, just chat, you and I, together like this.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I find you real nice.
Well, so are you.
And it's better than shock. Treatments, you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. I must say, that's the nicest compliment anybody has given me since the last time I saw Jacqueline Onassis. It was in the lift at the Ritz Hotel.
You had to carry
No,
her?
no. It was in the elevator at the Ritz Hotel, and we didn't speak.
Oh, dear. Isn't this wonderful? I am in such good company. I'm sitting here talking with Gore Vidal, and I'm being compared to Jacqueline Onassis. Now, what hospital did you say she was in?
Hospital? Oh, no, she's home. Somewhere.
She's lucky, isn't she?
Good morning, hon.
Good morning.
Did you have a good night's sleep last night?
No, to tell you the truth, I didn't really.
I was you just so fired up and excited and everything and keyed up about my fabulous return premiere to the Capri Lounge last night. You couldn't sleep, hon. You know something, Charlie? I have got this kind of gut feeling in my stomach that I am going to be right back on that road to superstardom.
Honey, nobody in the whole wide world wants you to be a superstar like the good Lord obviously meant for you to be any more than I do. But the unpainted truth of it is that exciting prospect is not what kept me awake last night.
And what kept you awake?
Loretta, my daddy always used to say, if a person has something on their mind, they ought to say it.
Well, you know something, Charlie? I always liked and respected your daddy, so you say it.
Honey, you know that song you wrote, that new song you wrote?
Moaning in the Night? Of course I know it. It was a hit last night, wasn't it? It was just fabulous. Everybody loved it.
Well, that's just exactly and precisely my point.
What?
Not everybody loved it. I, for one, hated it.
You hated Moaning in the Night? Charlie? I mean, you've kicked me where I create.
No, honey, not the song. The song is just another example of what a genius and a talent you are. What I hated was you singing it. No, I don't mean the way you sung it. I mean, what I hated was that you sang it out in the free public world for everybody to hear.
Charlie, I mean, you did not take that song that personal, did you?
Well, yeah, I think I did. I'm talking about my pride in my manliness, honey. Which pride I still have, even if I don't have as much manliness on account of where I shot myself. But when you sang it out in front of the public like that, and well, you just pretty well told everybody that I lost what I lost, and it humiliates me.
Oh, Charlie, honey, nobody took it personal that it was me moaning in the night. I mean, they know us better than that. I mean, they know. They would have no clue that we ain't doing what we used to be doing at night before all that stuff got shut off and everything.
Everybody knew it. Tom figured it out in 2 minutes flat.
Oh, come on. Did he? Are you serious?
Honest to Pete. He figured it out like that. I felt so ashamed and shot down. I'm not trying to be funny. I could have crawled under the table.
Yeah, the thing is, Charlie, it's just that, well, see, I just know that moaning in the night is like my surefire ticket, you know, on the train to Nashville and fame and fortune and everything. Now, I mean, is what you're asking me, is that you want me to tear up that ticket? Is that what you're asking?
Honey, all I'm saying...
Because, Charlie, I mean, you know that I'll do it. I mean, I'll do it if that's what you want me to do. I'll do it.
What I want is for you to get to be a superstar and for me to keep a hold of my manly pride. And my dilemma between the two is just Well, it's made a half a man out of me, which is something I can't afford to be, on account I started out being a half a man anyway. Just,
Oh, darling, honey, you're my man. You're always going to be my man, and not my half man, but my whole man. My big old baby boy man.
well, I appreciate your saying that on account of I know it comes from your affection and your sweetness and all, but honey, the truth of the matter is I just can't go on like this.
Charlie, honey, there's no reason. I mean, I don't know why you've given up hope that it's always going to be like this, that it's never going to get back to what it was.
No, huh?
No, it's not. I mean, it's not going to be like this all the time. Now, for instance, there's no reason to give up hope because you hadn't even got that letter back from that doctor, you know, that advertised in the magazine, remember?
Oh, sweet. I don't know. I think that maybe isn't entirely legitimate, you know?
Charlie, there is no reason why that is not legitimate. I think, in my own mind, that man is just, that doctor, rather, is just ahead of his time. He has to do things because he's ahead of his time that other doctors do not have to do, like advertise, for instance. Let me give you an example. Remember them, them little chewable underpanties that, that kind of joke thing we saw? They're ahead of their times. You don't see those underpanties next to Fruit of the Loom. They have to send for them in a brown wrapper, right?
Yeah, maybe you're right.
And another thing I think that you should constantly remind yourself about, honey, is that Dr. Furman said, this whole thing is psychological. It's in your head. I just remembered something. Gosh, I was so excited last night, with my return engagement and everything to the Capri Lounge that I totally and completely forgot to show you this article. When I was in the checkout counter last night at the grocery store, National Enquirer, I read this article. Absolutely. I remember when I went to get my Arid Extra Dry because I wanted to be dry under the hot spotlights of the Capri Lounge. Saw this article, and I want you to read it.
What is it?
Well, it's an article on hypnotism and how you can get control of your mind.
Honey, my mind is not what I need control of.
Honey, now listen. Your miseries is all caused from psychological problems, right? So if you can read this article and hypnotize yourself, maybe you can psychologicate some of your troubles away.
There we are in the middle of the week. And Annie is staying in town, and that is something that it's an X factor, because as it stands officially, it's just a friendship between Tom and Annie on both sides. It's not like there's an attraction. Well, there may be an attraction, but it's not something that is planned to be acted upon. And Loretta is doing the best friend job by making sure that it's clear there's a boundary around Tom. Merle shows up, and there's some plot points there that are sort of snuck into because Annie is parking on the property that he is acquiring, and Condos for Christ, that's a thing. But also Merle and Loretta, like, why is he there in the first place? He knows Loretta's going to be there, and he knows that Loretta said, no, don't be around. So I think things are getting stirred up. I mean, for sure things are getting stirred up. We see Gore Vidal welcomed by Mr. Ackerman, and how awkward is that for Gore to have someone looming over you to try to suck off your celebrity? I didn't mean that in the gross way that it could have been, but basically trying to glom off of any kind of fame that you can capture, which is where Mr. Ackerman is. He's just a toady. Then Mary comes in, and it switches to a dynamic scene between Mary and Gore, and it felt a little meta to me, like Gore Vidal was talking about Mary Hartman's life in the way that I feel like this show thinks about Mary Hartman's life. That Mary, in some way, represents the average American, which, 20 years earlier would have been a white man, and in this case now it's a white housewife. But the show very much questions people's roles in the American suburban lifestyle, consumerism, and all of that stuff. And then it gets a little bit silly talking about grammar and all of that, because, you know, Mary likes to fill silence. But it did feel a bit meta to me that Gore Vidal was talking about the aims of the show when he was talking about the aims of the book he was planning to write. So I'm curious to see what this means. I mean, I don't know how long Gore Vidal will be making guest appearances on this show. And I suppose at some point I should read a book of his. Maybe I should read Myra Breckenridge. And then we get a quiet, real talk scene between Charlie and Loretta. And I can see both points of view, because Loretta tends to mine her life for inspiration and has done so since the beginning of the series. All of her songs come from things that are real to her, and that's her mode of expression. At the same time, it's true that Charlie was revealed in this song, that Tom certainly figured out what Charlie was about. Now, I don't know if other people would do it, but given how people deconstruct, let's say, Taylor Swift songs today and attribute characters in those songs to Taylor's life. I watched a video about Taylor Swift and the Taylor Swift multiverse. Let's put that video right here. But I think it's fair to suggest that there should be a boundary about something that Charlie takes really personally. And while the song is a bop, I can also see that it's a little bit too personal for Charlie, Loretta's life partner, to deal with. I suppose we will see how this shakes out. So, yeah, that's what I've got to say about this episode. Thank you so much for coming on this fancy-free trip with me. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and feelings down in the commentos. We will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.